I got anonymous flowers for Valentine's. Then my phone alerted me to a tracker. The roses were red. Not a soft, romantic crimson, but a deep, violent shade of arterial blood that seemed to absorb the light in my entryway. There were 4 dozen of them, crammed into a heavy crystal vase that must have weighed 20 pounds. They sat on the console table, filling the entire downstairs with a scent that was overwhelming, thick, cloying, and suffocatingly sweet. I stood there, sipping my morning coffee, staring at them. It was February 1st, Sunday morning. My husband, Mark, was still asleep upstairs. He had been working late shifts at the hospital all week, and I wanted to let him rest. I touched one of the petals. It felt velvety, expensive. There was no card. I had searched the plastic wrapping, checked under the vase, even shook the greenery. Nothing. Just 4 dozen roses appearing on my doorstep at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. I smiled, a slow warmth spreading through my chest. Mark was always trying to beat the rush. He knew I hated the cliché of Valentine's Day, the crowded restaurants, the marked-up chocolates, so he usually did something early. This was grand, even for him. "You're crazy," I whispered to the empty room, looking up toward the bedroom. "But I love you." I went about my morning. I watered the plants. I made breakfast. I moved the massive vase to the kitchen island because the smell was getting too intense in the hallway. At 10 a.m., Mark came stumbling down the stairs, hair messy, wearing his favorite flannel pants. He walked into the kitchen, rubbing his eyes, and stopped dead when he saw the floral monstrosity dominating the counter. "Whoa," he said, blinking. "Did someone die?" I laughed, flipping a pancake. "Very funny. Thank you, babe. They're beautiful. A little intense, but beautiful." Mark looked at me. Then he looked at the flowers. Then he looked back at me. The sleepiness vanished from his eyes, replaced by a sharp, confused clarity. "Sarah," he said slowly. "I didn't send those." I froze, the spatula hovering over the skillet. "What?" "Stop joking. Who else would send 4 dozen roses to our house?" "I'm serious." Mark walked over to the vase, inspecting it with a frown. "I ordered your gift already. It's a spa day certificate. It's in my email. I didn't order flowers. And even if I did, I wouldn't order these. They look like they belong at a mafia funeral." The warmth in my chest evaporated, replaced by a cold, prickling sensation at the base of my neck. "If you didn't send them," I whispered, turning off the stove, "then who did? Is there a card?" "No." I checked. Mark dug his hands into the greenery, searching for a pick or an envelope. "Maybe it fell out. Maybe it's a mistake. A delivery error?" "The delivery guy asked for me by name," I said, remembering the interaction. He said, "Delivery for Sarah Miller." It wasn't a mistake. We stood there in the silent kitchen, the smell of the roses suddenly turning from sweet to sickening. It smelled like a funeral home. "Maybe it's your mom?" Mark suggested, though he didn't sound convinced. "Or the girls from work?" "My mom sends daisies," I said. "And the girls from work send Starbucks gift cards. Nobody spends $500 on roses without a note, Mark." "Okay," Mark stepped back, crossing his arms. "Okay. It's weird. But let's not freak out. It's probably just a mix-up at the florist. Someone ordered them for a Sarah Miller, and the driver just Googled the address and got ours." I wanted to believe him. I really did. I wanted to believe it was just a clerical error in the database of Flowers' shop. So I let it go. We ate breakfast. We watched a movie. But every time I walked past the kitchen, the flowers seemed to be watching me. They felt heavy. They felt present. At 2 p.m., my phone buzzed. I was sitting on the couch. I picked it up, expecting a text from my sister. It wasn't a text. It was a system notification from Apple. A gray banner across the top of my screen. Airtag detected near you. I stared at it. I don't own an Airtag. Mark doesn't own an Airtag. We are Android people for everything else, but I have an iPhone for work. I tapped the notification. A map opened up. It showed a red dotted line. The line started at my front door at 8:05 a.m. It moved to the kitchen. It wiggled around the living room. Item detected, unknown accessory. First seen, 8:05 a.m. Current location, home. Mark, I said. My voice was trembling. Yeah? He looked up from his book. Look at this. I handed him the phone. He read the screen. His jaw tightened. What does this mean? He asked. Did you buy one for your keys? No, I said. Mark, look at the time. 8:05 a.m. That's exactly when the flowers arrived. Mark looked at the phone, then at the kitchen. He stood up. He didn't say a word. He walked into the kitchen with a purpose that terrified me. He grabbed the vase. He didn't handle it gently this time. He hauled it over to the table. Get some newspaper, he ordered. And the scissors. Mark, what are you doing? I'm finding the bug, he hissed. I laid the newspaper out on the kitchen table. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely smooth the creases. Mark grabbed the bouquet by the stems, thick, thorny stems that looked like barbed wire, and yanked them out of the vase. Water splashed everywhere, soaking the tablecloth, smelling of stagnant pond water and rot. He threw the flowers down. He started ripping them apart. He tore the red blooms off, tossing them aside. He ripped the ferns. He separated the bundle until all that was left was the heavy, waterlogged block of green floral foam at the base. It has to be here, Mark muttered. He picked up the steak knife I had brought him. He sliced into the foam. It made a wet, crunching sound, like cutting into a crisp apple. He sliced the top. Nothing. He sliced the side. Nothing. Maybe it's not in the flowers, I whispered, hugging myself. Maybe someone stuck it to my car? Maybe it's in my purse? The map says it's here, Mark said, sweat beading on his forehead. It says, nearby. Precision finding says it's within 2 feet. He stabbed the knife deep into the center of the block and twisted. The blade hit something hard. Click. It wasn't the dull thud of foam. It was the sharp click of metal on plastic. Mark froze. He used his fingers to dig into the green mush. He pulled out a small, round object wrapped tightly in clear cellophane tape to waterproof it. He held it up to the light. It was a white disc about the size of a quarter. The silver apple logo glinted through the layers of tape. My legs gave out. I sank into one of the kitchen chairs, clutching the edge of the table. It was in the foam, I choked out. Someone put it inside the foam before they arranged the flowers. Mark peeled the tape off. He held the naked Airtag in his palm. He pulled out his own phone and held it near the device. It's active, he said grimly. It's pinging. Someone knows we're here. Someone knows exactly where this kitchen is. Who? I asked, tears streaming down my face. Why? Mark looked at me. His face was pale. Sarah, think. Who would do this? Who hates us? Or, who loves you too much? I closed my eyes. My mind raced through the list of possibilities. A crazy client? A jealous ex-girlfriend of Mark's? And then, it hit me. It hit me like a physical blow to the stomach. Derek, I whispered. Mark dropped the Airtag on the table. It spun, making a rattling sound. Derek? Mark asked. Your ex? The one who? The one who went to prison, I finished. For aggravated stalking and assault. He got 3 years. When did he get out? Mark asked, his voice low and dangerous. I don't know, I grabbed my phone. I stopped checking the victim notification portal a year ago. I wanted to move on. I wanted to forget him. I logged into the DOC website. My fingers fumbled with the password. I typed in his inmate number, a sequence of digits I had memorized against my will. Inmate, Derek J. Vance. Status, released. Release date, January 26, 2026. 5 days ago. He had been out for 5 days. He's out, I said, the room spinning. He got out on Tuesday. He sent the flowers, Mark said. He couldn't come himself because of the restraining order. Wait, is the order still active? It expired, I realized with horror. It was a 3-year order. It expired the day he got out. I was supposed to renew it, but I forgot. I thought he would be in longer. He was denied parole twice. So he's free, Mark said. And he knows where we live. He doesn't know where we live, I corrected him. We moved while he was inside. We bought this house under your name specifically so he couldn't find the deed records. Then how did he send the flowers? He must have found my work address, I said. Or followed me. And then, instead of confronting me, he sent a Trojan horse. He sent the tracker so he could find the house. We looked at the white disc on the table. It wasn't just a tracker. It was a beacon. And right now, somewhere in this city, Derek was looking at a map on his phone, watching a little dot hover over our kitchen table. We have to go, Mark said. Pack a bag. We're going to a hotel. No, we're going to the police. He's watching, I whispered. If we move, he'll see the dot move. Good, Mark said, his eyes hard. Let him see it move. Let him see it move straight to the precinct. Mark grabbed a Ziploc bag. He scooped the Airtag into it. He didn't crush it. He didn't destroy it. Why aren't you smashing it? I asked. Evidence, Mark said. This is stalking. This is electronic surveillance. This violates his parole conditions, Sarah. Even if the restraining order is expired, he's on parole. He can't possess tracking devices. He can't harass you. This sends him back. We ran upstairs. I threw clothes into a duffel bag. I grabbed my passport, just in case. I felt like a refugee in my own home. We got into the car. Mark drove. I held the Ziploc bag in my lap. Check the notifications, Mark said as we pulled out of the driveway. Is it still updating? I looked at my phone. Airtag detected moving with you. Yes, I said. He sees us. Keep your eyes open, Mark said, checking the rearview mirror. Look for cars following us. Look for him. I scanned the street. Every sedan looked suspicious. Every driver looked like Derek, dark hair, hollow eyes, that smirk that used to charm me before it started to terrify me. We drove for 20 minutes. The silence in the car was thick with tension. There, Mark said, pointing. We pulled into the parking lot of the 4th precinct. It was a fortress of brick and concrete. Safe. We parked right in front of the entrance. We ran inside. The desk sergeant looked up, bored. Can I help you? I'm being stalked, I said, placing the Ziploc bag on the high counter. My ex-boyfriend got out of prison 5 days ago. He sent flowers to my house with this hidden inside them. The sergeant looked at the Airtag. He sat up straighter. You have proof it was him? He's the only one, I said. And he's tracking it right now. A detective was called down. Detective Miller. He was a grisly guy with coffee stains on his tie, but he listened. He took the inmate number. He ran it. Derek Vance, Miller muttered, looking at his computer screen. Released to a halfway house in the city. Conditions of release: no contact with victim. No possession of surveillance equipment. He broke both, Mark said. If this tag is registered to him, Miller said, picking up the bag, he's cooked. We can subpoena Apple for the registration info. It takes a few hours. A few hours? I asked. He's watching us now. Miller looked at the Airtag. Then he looked at the glass doors of the station. If he's watching the dot, Miller said slowly, a grin spreading across his face, then he sees that the dot is currently sitting inside a police station. He'll run, I said. He'll flee. Maybe, Miller said. Or maybe he's arrogant. Stalkers usually are. They want to be close. They want to see the fear. Miller grabbed his radio. Dispatch, I need a perimeter check. Scan the parking lot and the side streets. Look for what does he drive? He didn't have a car, I said. He was in prison. Check for a rental, Miller ordered his team. Or a guy on foot. Subject is Derek Vance. Use caution. He has a history of violence. We waited. They put us in an interview room. It was cold. Mark held my hand. It's going to be okay, he said. He found us, Mark, I whispered. He found the house. We have to move. We aren't moving, Mark said firmly. He is. Half an hour passed. Then, the door opened. Detective Miller walked in. He looked satisfied. We got him, Miller said. I gasped. He was here. Parked down the block, Miller said. In a beat-up Honda. He was sitting there, watching the station entrance with binoculars. He was waiting for you to come out. My blood ran cold. He wasn't running. He was hunting. Did you arrest him? Mark asked. We sure did, Miller nodded. Parole violation. Stalking. And we found the receipt for the flowers in his pocket. Paid cash, but the timestamp matches the delivery. And the Airtag? We scanned it with our tech, Miller said. It's linked to an iPhone 15 found in his car. It's his. We have him dead to rights. I slumped back in the chair. The relief was so physical it felt like I was melting. He's going back? I asked. He's going back, Miller promised. Violation of parole usually means he serves the remainder of his sentence, plus new charges for the stalking. He's looking at 5 to 10 years this time. We walked out of the station an hour later. The sun was setting. The air was cold, but it felt clean. We drove home. When we walked into the kitchen, the smell of roses was still there. Faint, but there. The pile of destroyed flowers was still on the table. The green foam block, gouged and broken, sat in a puddle of water. Mark grabbed a trash bag. He swept the petals, the stems, and the foam into it. He tied it shut with a savage knot. I'm burning this, he said. He took it to the backyard fire pit. I watched from the window as he doused the bag in lighter fluid and threw a match. The flames roared up, consuming the red petals, turning the symbol of my terror into ash. We didn't sleep in the master bedroom that night. We slept in the guest room, with the doors locked and the security system armed. But we slept. The next day, I got a call from the district attorney. They were expediting the case. Derek was being held without bail. I also got a notification on my phone. Airtag detected, no longer reachable. The battery had died, or it was sitting in an evidence locker shielded by concrete. I bought a new vase. I filled it with daisies. Simple, cheap, cheerful daisies. I still check my phone notifications every time it buzzes. I still look over my shoulder in the parking lot. The trauma doesn't vanish just because the bad guy is in handcuffs. But I know one thing. Derek thought he was smart. He thought he could use technology to terrorize me from the shadows. He thought I would be the scared little girl he used to control. He forgot that I grew up. He forgot that I have a partner who fights for me. And he forgot that every tracker works two ways. It leads the predator to the prey, but it also leads the police to the predator. He sent me flowers to say, "I'm watching you." I sent him back to prison to say, "I see you too." So, tell me. Am I the monster for using his own stalking device to trap him, or did he just deliver himself to justice?
If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.